Good morning again, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to have a little chat about a local motorcycle dealer that has changed hands, let's put it like that, and we delve a little bit deeper into the situation there and a few other stories as well. Let's get down the road. Yes, good morning, and thanks for joining me as always. Beautiful day today, and we've got a bit of wind, so a nice breeze, keeping it a bit cooler, so a much more pleasant day today I think it's going to be on the bike, dressed up in the leathers and the helmet. It's not pleasant in a heat wave, is it? But should be a bit better today. Yes, a local dealers, now the one I'm talking about is one in Dudley, which is in Worcestershire, and a dealer that used to be called Dudley Motorcycle Centre, DMC, and it's been called various other names over the years. I seem to recall, it's not really my local area, but they've always had motorcycle dealerships in the same building, or certainly on the same street, for many years. So what's happened recently? Well, the original owners, or the people who were running it previously, have moved, and the place has been taken over by a company called Big Moto. So it's now called Big Moto. Now, if you live in the East Anglia region, you'll probably know this company anyway, because they've had Big Moto East Anglia already for a period of time. But it's got quite an interesting history. I went up with a friend of mine, Malcolm, who you'll have met, and he was interested in one of the bikes, and we were hunting down this place, Big Motor, but we didn't realise it was actually in the old DMC building from Dudley Motorcycle Centre. So while he was doing a route round, I was sort of having a chat, as I do, with some of the sales staff, and finding out a bit of what's going on. And Big Moto, it turns out, is run, or has been started, by a gentleman by the name of Scott Behrens. Now, Scott Behrens is quite well known in the motorcycle industry, because he's the guy who started Superbike Factory, and I think we all know a Superbike Factory that are branches all over the country. So DMC now is going to be, it seems to me, run more on that sort of basis. And what sort of basis is that? Well, I'll bring up another person here, and that's Sir John Cohen. Now, I don't know if you know Sir John Cohen, but he was very well known for a saying, and that was pilot high and sell them cheap, pile them high and sell them cheap, or a phrase to that sort of, very close to that at the very least. But he's well known for that saying, and he was the guy who started Tesco's, and that sort of way of retailing, having a lot of goods, very high volume, was his sort of thing. And there's quite a few other areas of retail that have got examples of this sort of thing as well. I know in the hi-fi industry there's a company called Richer Sounds in the UK, who is owned by a man called Julian Richer. Now, he had the same sort of ethos. Lots of stock, sell cheap and get it through the door, pile it high and sell it cheap. And he's been very successful. Richer Sounds is still going, actually. A lot of people thought it might be a short-lived enterprise, but they're actually still going after all these years. But yeah, that was started by the Tesco boss, who incidentally had another little acronym, and that basically spelled out, you don't do business sitting on your arse. And that was the thing he used to tell all his staff, apparently, the boss of Tesco's. That was another of his little sayings. But anyway, moving on from that, the reason I'm bringing this sort of thing up is I think this big Moto, and certainly Superbike Factory, let's talk about them first, are, shall we say, of that ilk. The stock tends to be quite cheap, relatively undercutting other dealers, not by a huge amount, but by enough to make them very competitive on the price front. And now, without being slanderous here, that also goes along with possibly, shall we say, less focus on preparation of the bikes. Certainly in the Superbike Factory, I've seen some bikes that, to me personally, wouldn't count as retail standard quality bikes. Not necessarily in terms of the quality, there's something wrong with them mechanically, but certainly in the way that they're presented. I think the emphasis is more on getting numbers out the door rather than preparing the bikes maybe to the highest standard for resale. And that's the type of business we're dealing with. And now this local dealers, Dudley Motorcycle Centre, seems to have been taken over by this offshoot, because this guy Scott Berens, as I said, was the man who was part of the team that started Superbike Factory, and seems to now have gone on his own and invented this big Moto retail name. So we'll have to see how it goes. I must admit, I've got my basic thought over these type of dealers, because the same thing happens in the car trade, exactly the same. There's these large, what they used to call car supermarkets, and clearly it was all about piling it high and selling it cheap, you know, lots of volume, huge numbers of stock. The inventory was massive, but maybe something has to give. And the only thing it can give is possibly in preparation and, dare I say it, after sales service. And I'm not making accusations here, but if you've had any experience of Superbike Factory in the past, and I know quite a few people have, drop it in the comments, tell me what you think. Has it been a good experience? And most importantly, what was the after sales service like? If you had a problem with the bike, how did they deal with it for you? And that's the thing I think, maybe if you save some money, that may be how they managed to save you some money, by maybe not offering quite the same after sales service as one might expect with certain other dealers. But there you go, it's a marketplace, and you pay your money and you take your choice, don't you? Right then, here at the cafe again. I don't know why I always go up here. I'm always doing that. Doing a big turn. There you go. That's all from me. Go and get myself a coffee, as always. And I will see you in the next one. As I said, please leave your comments in the comments box if you've had any experience specifically with Superbike Factory in the past. I'd be really interested to know. Right, that's all from me. See you soon. Bye.